Hell is Us is finally here, so let's find out, is it good or is it bad? I'm kind of hoping this is going to be good. If you don't know what Hell is Us is, it's something like a Dark Souls-esque type of game, but it looks a little bit like someone mixed in Dark Souls with Death Stranding, but in the good way. So, I'm kind of slightly excited to see what we can get here.
Hell is Us is a game I did not expect to play, but when I got the review code offer and it gave me a lot of time to actually sink my teeth into it, I figured, hey, why not tee this one up, give it a shot, see how it goes. Boy, am I glad I did that. It never looked like a bad game, just September's a really busy month, but this is one you might want to make some time for. I say that because Hell is Us delivers one of the more unique narrative structures that you've seen in a game. It's one that
A Souls-like game with narrative? Oh boy, that's new.
is a bygone way of doing things, completely leaving it up to you, the player, to figure out every bit of this narrative. There's no quest markers, no exclamation points above people's heads.
Ah, okay, so it's the typical Dark Soul experience. Got it.
There's no guidance tools. There's no telling you what to do. There's no
Well, this game, you know what that means? It means that this game has added 10 years of worth of YouTube revenue for some Dark Souls lore channel.
companions barking in your ear on what you should be doing next. There's zero guidance in this game. No maps, no exposition, nothing. It just leaves you to your own devices to figure it all out. And that means it's not going to be for everybody. Even if the combat tries to be a lot more accessible, and it is accessible, and it is fun, but it doesn't mean that's going to be enough to pull you in. But if this narrative structure sounds fresh to you, then what you're looking at here is one of the most refreshing games to come out in 2025.
All right.
It's another AA gem. It's $50, and yeah, it comes with its issues, but I do think the strengths
$50? Okay, that sounds pretty good.
outweigh its weaknesses. Anyway, too long, didn't read. Hell is Us is like an antique. It may remind you of games you played many, many years ago, and if you get down with that for $50, you might have one of your favorite games of the year. Let's start breaking it down. Frame one, man, like first cutscene, I think this game completely grabs hold of you. It just immediately sets the tone with its mystery, its excellent voice performance, and not all cutscenes are like this. Many of the game's cutscenes are in-game or just conversations happening in the overworld with very low animation quality. Again, it's AA.
The Yellow Brick Road. What the hell? This story is gonna be wild, isn't it?
But when they do push it with these types of cutscenes, it's like an immediate hook every time. And it's funny because to review this game, I need to talk about the story because like that's the best part of all of this. Not just, oh, it's a great narrative. Like, yeah, it is, but it's the narrative structure and how you unpack it in so many different ways that makes it special. So I'll be very light on story details here because truly, like,
Okay, so far at least it sounds intriguing. So this is gonna be a easier version of Dark Souls, but kind of Dark Souls-esque. Okay.
from the beginning of the game, every discovery is absolutely a part of your experience. So I will keep it very, very vague. You're going to get the very general idea here. You won't even get your main character's name or
Okay.
anything about him. I'm going to leave that all up to you. All I'll say is this. There's a war going on. It's happening between two different sides that are very similar but have very different ideology. And as expected with the brutality of war, the world that's depicted within Hell is Us is a dark,
Wait, so is this the future or is this the past? Because the cars look old. We saw artillery piece right there. Interesting.
Hell is Us is a dark, depressing one. Like if I were to make a comparison, it's that kind of Silent Hill 2 relentless depression. Like it's just always on your back. You're always feeling weighted down. And that's because there's an eerie soundtrack always droning on in the background. And it is powerful. It adds so much character to this world. It's one of my favorite soundtracks of the year. It's just such a ambience. It's such a vibe. It's, again, very powerful. But all this is accompanied by families that have been separated or people with lots of regrets of what happened leading.
Sabinian family tree. Ah, how cute. Okay. Pitful soldier. We aren't going to let that slide. No way. Polo Mists pulled similar shit in my village. It's the reason I enlisted. Okay, so one side is animals, I guess. But man, they at least have some art.
Into the war, how they've lost loved ones in this war, and it's never done in this corny way. It feels very believable, and it's in those conversations you have with those people. It reminds me a little bit of Vampire, where hearing the deeper reflections of even the most random NPCs in these games is the highlight, because you just get to
Nice shadows, nice lighting, pretty good textures, I guess. Huh. Kind of neat. I kind of like it currently. Looks nice.
hear them think and ponder on things like the war. This is one of the few games where every time I'm handed a dialogue option, I exhaust every single one of them because I'm
So it's a civil war. Peter Sabinian Palmotis creatures. Okay. Okay, so there's, well, we already saw some kind of white creature, right? And this guy, oh, you can't actually see it. Whoop. Second. Okay, and this guy right here doesn't actually look human, you know what I'm saying? So, what exactly is happening here?
trying to not only unpack the mystery to the best of my abilities, but even when you go and
What is the whole mystery? What's actually happening? That's kind of neat.
ask these characters just general questions about, what do you think of this civil war? What do you think of
King something, eh?
this side or the other? Just hearing how they react, getting a feeling of where they're placed in this world. And not everyone's like, oh, I hope the war ends, or, oh, we should all get along. Like, there are people who just hate. There are people who just hate. There are people who think they're rightfully angry. There are people who are trying to be more sympathetic. There's people who want to stay out of it. There's people who are looking after themselves. It's a very deep reflection of
So, general knowledge investigations. The journalist, Ernest, I think I met your father, blah, blah, blah. Who are you? Oh, so this is if you have taught. This is probably not available if you haven't actually found his father. That's interesting. General knowledge. So it's always the same things, I guess. So is this about the Civil War? I need to get hope, get to my family. What usually took a few hours on a road trip was turned into a logistical nightmare. Couldn't drive, take the bus or train. Okay. Are we trying to be vague, or it looks like the bot has been happening for quite some time, so saying something like that does feel a little bit out of place, doesn't it? So, I'm kind of thinking one thing. What kind of story is this? Is this a mystery story where you're supposed to figure out what the Civil War is? What's everyone doing? Because I mean, if, well, it's gonna be something.
how many people deal with the realities of war, whether or not they're actually involved with the reason the war is happening. Now, Hell is Us is broken up into multiple zones that you'll be able to travel across via your APC.
Yeah, some kind of dark rippling thingy.
And these zones are densely packed with their own narrative secrets and a web that connects it all. Your primary means of getting around is going to be on foot, and you'll be able to unpack all of this however you want. So you just kind of get dropped in and you go. And the game has really great draw distance detail.
I do like how it looks so far. Kind of exciting.
As well. So it's not even just working off of shapes. Like, I always found it very impressive on a technical level for a AA game, how much detail is in the town at the distance, or how much detail is in the abbey at the distance. Landmarks like these are very easy to identify, and that's extremely important because it is your primary means of getting around. More on that in a little bit. As you're roaming these zones, you're going to meet all sorts of characters, and you'll be able to help them out in what the game calls good deeds. It's a simple system, but it's really effective. By committing your brain to these characters, you get to have the many aha moments that today's titles rob you of, because a companion's going to yell out the answer before you
Ancient mechanism. This looks like something you insert in the behind. It is what it is.
even think of anything. So maybe
An old, dilapidated mechanism meant to open doors. Oh. Well, it's a door of sorts, one might say.
for example, you find a teddy bear out in the open world, and you remember a guy you met earlier was very sad about his son who passed away. He mentioned, I just want something to remember this boy by. That sticks out in your head. So you seek him out. You go to him, you hand him the teddy bear, and you have this very emotional, genuine reaction to the teddy bear that you're handing over. And in that, this person grows a little bit, and they don't usually, honestly, almost every time reward you. The reward is the personal satisfaction of solving the mystery. And don't get it twisted, you eventually get a little bit of a reward, but sometimes your reward is like another piece to another puzzle. Like, hey, I gave you the teddy bear, you gave me something in return. Now I've got this object. I'm going to go take this to someone else that I think this might be for, or I'm going to stash this for later. It's a game that, given the constant circulation of investigation items,
Well, definitely the combat looks a little bit more easier than Dark Souls, you know?
you're always paying very close attention to the things people want or the things they say in passing. And I find the writing to be impressive in that regard because it's done in a very natural way. It's very easy for the game's objectives in your brain to override what's actually happening in the narrative. And by that, I mean, I'm looking for someone, okay, tell me what you want, you know, because that's what this game's all about. Like, the game design is me finding.
Okay, civil law again. Look at what we've accomplished with a few men and resources. We captured the entire province of Umbrahan and pushed into Aragaula. Okay. So, yeah, it's definitely supposed to be a mystery what the Civil War is. I kind of got thrown off by the fact that this guy at the start saying like, oh, man, since the war started, the logistics are horrible. It looks like the war has been raging on for literally like a decade at this fucking point. Like, what do you mean?
Finding objects and giving them to the right people and eventually getting good loot out of it. But because it always weaves back into the narrative, into the Civil War, because it always weaves back into this very gripping world, I always find myself just getting lost in what these characters are saying. Again, it just feels like a very real human depiction of the ugliness of war in every facet. The only happy moments are when you crack the code or you help someone out who's really struggling and give them something to help get over their problem and see them change a little bit. But all of this that I'm talking about is done on your own. Like, every single bit of it, you figure out. And that's why it's not for everybody.
Well, yeah, that's how most games work, I guess.
For example, this game does not have a map. Got a little bit of a love-hate relationship with this one because, with respect to the developer's vision, it becomes tough to remember where everyone is. And that's with me busting.
I like it when games don't have maps and you have to figure out where you are and things like that. I think it's rewarding. I absolutely love mechanics like that, where you're supposed to be, oh, this giant thing right there, I need to pay attention to it, and, you know, things of that nature. And then you figure out where to go, how to navigate, and things like that. I love it. I think it's great. You know, the feeling of being accidentally lost, I kind of like it. I like it when the game forces you to be good in these minute ways, so you feel rewarded about knowing where to go, how to do things, and stuff like that. If this is supposed to be a but Dark Souls doesn't have like a map, right? Yeah, it doesn't. So it's kind of the same. If you could handle that, I think you're gonna handle this pretty easily, probably. At least I don't see any problem here.
Out my notepad, by the way, I took like 3 pages of notes playing this game, and they're really helpful to take those notes. You're gonna want to do it. You would really want to consider it, especially by the end of the game. And this game, as I'll talk about, does have something you can reference for information, but where it really starts to struggle a bit is when you get to a town and there's like 15 different buildings that you can enter. You're usually like running through towns and through a ton of different buildings until you go, oh, it's up this hill, around this corner here, and then through this specific entrance. Oh, there's the person I'm looking for. I don't think it would have hurt to give you a general map that even had fog of war that just gradually filled out as you explored. I also don't think it would have been a bad idea to just have this map update when you meet people of importance, that they then do get marked on your map. Not so that you can set waypoints, but just so you have reference of information that rewards the exploration and the heavy lifting you're doing. As you get deeper into the game, you're really going to want to have some help from your notepad or the game's toolset it gives you, which is also...
It's hard to tell how far the game is, but currently I think we have seen only 3 different types of enemies, but I think he's level 8? Or maybe he's level 3? I'm not sure. There's a 3 here and there's an 8 there, so I'm confused.
Very helpful in the investigation section. But just one final note on the map, because in fairness, and again, in respect to the developer's decision, which I imagine was pretty tough to do, I got to play devil's advocate with myself, because there's also a world I could be sitting here saying, hey, I was pausing my game every 2 seconds to check my map.
So what's gonna be the main draw that you think of this game? Is it gonna be the fact that it's like Dark Souls combat? Because it's clearly not, so the game's gonna be a lot easier. Or do you think it's gonna be the story? A dreary world like this where you need to uncover what's going on kind of sounds cool, not gonna lie. Maybe with a twist and turn there, but I don't know. Are people looking at Dark Souls types of games and being like, oh, I've cared for the story? Yeah, people definitely do care for the stories for these games, but it's not the primary draw now, is it? So, I wonder, are people who want a Dark Souls experience going to be happy with this?
Took me out of it. So I could also see this being something that was cut in testing. It's just ultimately an imperfect part of the system that you could make arguments for either side of and either love or hate. I ended up learning to love it because I spent like 7 hours in a single zone, and that's where I was like, man, I just like, am I missing like one corner, one pathway? Like, where's the solution to this one thing in the main story? And I'll just say, for those who do get to the point, it's something in a basement. And I was like, what is the password for this? Like, I can't figure this out, only to realize, like, literally the game had it in front of me in that very room, like, from the moment I got in that building. I was just
What
an
was
idiot.
that?
There was another time that to get into an optional zone, there was a note I picked up at the very beginning of the game that had a code that let me get into this area. And I went, like, that's the type of stuff this game is asking of you. I sincerely recommend, if you do play this game.
Man, how much time has passed since, okay, now it's like, oh, paying attention to your surroundings is rewarding sometimes. Man, it feels like it's been forever, okay? Which was the last game that actually did this? Prey? I think it's Prey, honestly, that did this the last time that if you did environmental, if you paid attention to the environment, you could actually find solutions to things.
Do not look up a walkthrough. Like, I know it's going to be a willpower test for some of y'all out there, but like, don't do it, man. It's not worth it. Like, even during the
Okay, also, question. What kind of fucking VOD is actually happening here when there's, like, creatures? So how does this work? There's two sides fighting. There's creatures. So this is not actually, like, a side. So this is somehow made, probably. Okay, so the Lord is going to explain what this is. But currently I'm seeing no actual VOD. I'm seeing a lot of reference about the civil VOD. But I'm not seeing a lot of actual, VOD.
review process, they're like, we'll give you a walkthrough if you know. I'm like, hell no. Like, this is what makes the game tick. It's a game that expects you to pay attention. And yeah, if you're streaming in between a bunch
Yeah, there's a lot of the same enemies. It looks like the enemy variety is definitely not the strong suit of this game.
of games, it's going to be tough to keep up with. That notepad's going to help you out a lot, which is why I recommend it. If you're just like a one game dude, a one game chick, you're going to have a great time here and you're really going to lock in.
Let's not kid ourselves, okay? I'm not playing this.
But they don't leave you with absolutely nothing. What you do get instead is an investigation tree. So as you find objects, as you find people, as you find places, these trees are all interconnected. You could click on them and explore different pockets of the web itself. Like, there's a lot here, and it's just webs within webs within webs. At first, I got like prototype web of intrigue flashbacks here and went, oh boy, this is going to be a lot. But it really does help a lot with quick references to information. Like, just a quick little look of, oh, this person's over here. Okay, like, if you just know the town by name, given how good the draw distance is and the detail within the draw distance and like the memories you create by exploring, you'll likely sit there and go, okay, I know where X is. In a lot of ways, this is your quest.
So, currently, it sounds like this is more mystery than actual Dark Souls.
Log, basically, but it's a more...
But I'm not gonna lie, boys. Listen, I have commented on Matty's inability to actually do game reviews. I don't understand people who actually look at his reviews and think, man, this is insightful. I'm like, I can barely understand what the game's fucking about.
Or useful, interconnected quest log that kind of becomes...
Also, the reputation of an absolute shill doesn't help.
Becomes a game of itself as you're kind of looking through it.
The last time we watched Mr. Matty review about something like this, it was Claire Obscure Expedition 33, but people were literally commenting, I did not get Clear Obscure Expedition 33 because Maddie was shilling it. That's impressively bad. It's so hard to grasp what exactly is going on here. I'm not sure, okay? This is definitely a review.
And just connecting all the different dots. So they don't leave you completely without any clue or reference to things you've discovered in the past. But that's enough about the story, because anything more would start to veer into spoiler territory. So let's talk a bit about gameplay, combat, that sort of thing, because this is one of those games where the narrative is the gameplay, but there
Okay.
is like actual combat. And yeah, it's a blender game. You're going to see a lot of ideas that
Why are the main, by the way, these main enemies that look like Lady Gaga's backup dancers? This is kind of not it.
are from other games just thrown into this one and turned into like a Souls-like narrative smoothie. So you have things such as
Oh, I got it. So the weapons you see level up. Got it. So this is the switch. Okay, so when we saw a 3 and an 8, it it was one weapon level is on 8, the axes, and the other one is on 3, the one that he doesn't use. Got it.
Souls-like narrative smoothie. So you have things such as a Pip-Boy-like device menu. Enemies are connected via umbilical cords, and the main character, with the way he's dressed, may as well be called Schmam, Schmort, or Schmidges. You know, just look at the fit, bro. I mean, there's your standard video game crafting and upgrading systems here. And then, yeah, a lot of the functionality of this game's combat is very Souls-like inspired. So I don't blame people for looking at this game and being like, there is no identity here. It's just a lot of things put together. And that is kind of fair when you look at the combat. Again, it's functional and it's good and it's enjoyable.
Ooh,
It's
an
just not
execute, I guess
wholly
that's fine.
distinct. It's just a lot of ideas that you may like from
Oh
other games
no, 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 we have a drone. Oh no, mind's eye.
thrown together here. So let's get into that Souls-like combat, because it's more like a Souls-like blender too. Like there's a blender within the blender here at this point. Because yeah, the camera, the lock-on system, this is very similar to what you've seen in a Dark Souls game, Bloodborne, the list goes on. Like you've seen this before. Ironically, though, this is more welcoming than any other part of the game, despite the entire narrative structure and design being the opposite of that. Like, there's difficulty settings, there's a full-on checkpoint system. But yeah, I said blender earlier because they took the key pull system from Neo and tossed it in here as well. So for those who haven't played Neo, this is a game where as you're swinging away and you're using all of your stamina up, you'll see a quick flash with your character where you kind of twitch the block button. If you do that, you get a bonus that activates. But it's like a really cool reactivity system. And I haven't seen any other games borrow this element, but they took that from Neo, threw it in this game. It's a weird fit, but I love the key pull
Yeah, this looks just so strange.
in Neo. So that's here. Of course, they have parrying. There's parrying in like every game nowadays. This game has it. Enemies flash red, block at the same time. Parry window is very forgiving. You stagger them. You can use like an execution style move on them. It's very cinematic and cool. It's a Souls-like blender. You've seen all these ideas from different Souls games and throw them into one. Ultimately, the problem I end up having with the combat is simply the nature of it. Like on its own, it's great. And what I'm about to say kind of doesn't matter. It's more like a philosophical thing, I guess, but still maybe worth saying just so you know how I feel about things. I love Souls-likes. It's one of my favorite genres. It also feels like a genre that's kind of broken the brain of gameplay designers out there, combat designers out there. Like this game, Hell Is Us, effectively turns into a hack and slash action RPG. And we've played many of those growing up. They don't need the kind of bones of a Soul.
I don't know. The fact that there's only like one memory, well, not one memory, but almost like one enemy type seems a little bit boring, currently, cliche at best. I don't know. How are you guys feeling about this? Is this a different one? Is this like a boss?
Character and your drone that helps you out can use. And a lot of these enemies are ending up turning into just whittling down these orbs that they're attached to. And many of them don't telegraph their attacks really well. So yeah, it just kind of turns.
Okay. Well, that's kind of it. Well, that was Mr. Manny Plays 10 out of 10, and that was Hell Is Us. I am not sure. The story could be interesting, but you're selling a Dark Souls game for a story? Maybe? I'm not sure. Again, Mr. Manny's reviews, I can't fucking tell if they're good or not. I mean, well, at least he didn't say it's bad, but you should buy it. I guess there's the bright light right there. Anyway, bye.